Hello viewer, I hope you're having a great day. I made this bag, this like sort of pouch that is to be worn on the hip, not on the stomach like a fanny pack. On the hip it's tied to the leg so it stays like that. And I wanted it to be very like naturey, very fantasy, very whimsy-gothy, so that's why there's no visible metal elements. The only metal element is the zipper, and there are no visible plastic elements if we don't count the paint on it. And yeah, I wanted it to be soft and very just. I wanted to match my fantasy outfit, so that's why it's like that. And maybe let's just get to it. The first step obviously is design. I came up with some idea in my sketchbook and I decided on this one with this like leaf shape and the star with prints and decorations and all the fun stuff. And here in this video you can see me drafting my initial pattern. I'm using my phone case as like a minimum size because I wanted to fit my phone at least, but it's going to be bigger than that. And I was taught math in Polish, so it's a bit difficult for me to explain, but bear with me. The base shape is sort of a pentagonal prism, and it's flattened and elongated, and you know there's zipper installed and everything. And the way I made it is not out of like one solid piece of fabric, but the bases are two like pieces. There are actually 4 pieces in total, but just for the sake of like sandwiching the ends. And then the other sides are like one long stripe, and the bottom base is connected also with the strap that goes around my waist, so that's one part. And then the flap is also goes on top of everything and is also connected to the strap that goes around my waist. And the flap is sort of leaf shaped, so I added to it these additional like spikes sort of, so it's a bit bigger than the base. And I also had to elongate it a bit so that it to the width of the main thing has to also be included in the flap, so it's not too short. And on top of the flap I already drew the star to make sure it fits, it looks good. And the star also has to be elongated obviously. And when you make a 5-point star, usually the 2 main arms are sort of parallel, but here they can't be because of how it's stretched out, so all the lines are straight but they're sort of bent upwards, so and this is a design. I'm not sure if I explained anything well, but let's get to it. Here you can see me cutting it out, and this is the general shape of the back panels, which is like the shape of the bag plus the shape of the strap. It is going to be elongated later because I can't cut it out as one piece, but that's what we're working with. Alright, so I put this to my body, and honestly I kind of hate it. That's how it's supposed to lay, and it's like, I think it's too small. I think it's too minimalistic. The straps are also too short, but that's just because I didn't have enough fabric. I'm going to reuse the fabric, but I need to rework the pattern to be like wider. I want it to go like whoop. We'll see in a moment. So here's what we're at. I've cut out 4 pieces two with longer straps, two without. I will have to elongate the straps quite a bit because I just didn't have enough fabric, but I wanted it to be somewhat seamless, at least near the main part, so yeah, that's just the fabric I had. But the tactic is, this is the bottom piece, this is sewn to this so that we get to hide the seams, because this transitional part will be visible. And then this is a piece of a flap that will be sort of hidden in here. So as you can see, it's like that. Yeah, and this one goes on top. So as you can see, we've got the straps go together, and I will hide the seams inside. These two are hidden, and this will lift up, and inside there will be the actual back thingy. So we'll need some more fabric, but that's what we're starting with. Alright, so I pinned it in such a way that the edges are inside. Don't mind the threads, they're here because I first sewed it together and then I realized that, oh, actually that's the wrong order. Yeah, it's inside, and that's because you know, usually when I want to hide the edges inside, I just sew things wrong side out and then turn them. But I will be adding one more piece of fabric that will, actually here, not here, that will also go into the same space so that all the edges are also nice on the inside of the bag. So yeah, now I need one more piece, two more pieces similar to this, just without the strap, to be like the front, but like underneath this. You'll see in a moment. Hi, okay, so now I have two things to measure. First is, how long do I need this leg strap to be? And so I just have my bias tape that I will be turning into the strap, and I just need to like measure out roughly how much I need, and then add some. Maybe try to yeah, I think that's about as much as I need. And now how high I need it to be is the second question. So this is the bag. This is going to be a bit higher and somewhere here. Alright. Yeah, now I know how high I will have to attach it. I'll just mark it with my fingers for now and remember. Here I'm making the thin strap. I'm just using two pieces of bias tape with the edges folded in. So I'm stitching near the new edge, let's call it. So it's lays nice and flat, and it's all neat. Okay, so I made two more of these, and I also pinned them the same way. So as you can see, we've got 4 layers. Again, this is not a rough edge. This is little threads coming out because I sewed it and then ripped the stitch off because I did it wrong. But yeah. See, this is the front piece that will be underneath everything, and I added this strip to make it thicker, and yeah, see, no seams on any sides visible. I mean, seams are visible but no edges visible. that's visible still because I'm still going to sew it to the other side. And yeah, these two, I will have to connect them, and I think I will use just bias tape to hide it now. I think it's time for the zipper, so it's easier later on to sew the other half. I can't really show you how I will install the zipper, because I will hand sew it and it won't really be visible, but I made this little thingy right here, and I'm going to just fold all these pieces down like so, and yeah, the zipper will be in there. So it's not the best type of zipper installations, because obviously on the inside you feel this edge, but I am too lazy to add one more layer, and also this bag is quite small. Like, it looks big, but my hands are small. The bag is quite small, so I don't want to add too many layers to it, because it's kind of a waste of space, in my opinion. But yeah, that's what I'm about to do, and I think I'll just finish up the edge from the inside. I might just do a stitch, hand stitch it right across this edge, so it's down, right? Like I might do either some type of zigzag or an X or a cross stitch. I'll see. So yeah. Alright, so I figured I'll also show you how I will attach it all together. I think I will put one more piece of bias tape here, and just to secure this one edge, this top one. But that will be the next thing. For now, we've got the back, we've got the front, and we've got the strap, and I want the strap to go between these two sandwich layers. So from what we checked earlier, it should be about here. I remember it was somewhere where the pins end. So I might actually remove these two for a second, and just thread it through. Nice thing is I kept it like this for like 2 weeks, because I couldn't work on this project, so it's almost like ironed. See, it's not, I mean it is unfolding, but there is a line there, so that's useful for me. Now I figured when it comes to these two edges, because they should be sewn together, and I'd rather they were sewn together inside, and then I will add a piece of bias tape just to have a nicer edge. So maybe let's pin them for now, and then we'll finish that last, right? Or actually maybe let's sew these two, it will be easier to work. Alright, so I did this once already to attach this front panel to the side strip, but just to show you, what I do is I have this already pinned, just to have, I had these two layers already pinned together, and what I do is I take out one pin at a time. I slip in the piece of fabric here. I try to align it as best as I can, which is now going to be more difficult because, you know, we've got more things going on already. Yeah, like so, just to hide the dot that I used to mark it, and I pin it back like that, and now I do it everywhere. This was the hardest part to sew because, you know, there's a lot of turning the whole thing, because it's quite small, and I wanted the stitches to be nice, but it came out alright. Right, and here's my idea of what to do with that one last seam. I'm just going to hide it with bias tape, like so, and so across here and here, and yeah, it should be fine. And I think it's fun to pick a satin bias tape, just to have a bit of a different texture than this other bias tape, right? Here you can see me making the pattern. So I first designed it with a pencil on a lino block, then I stained it slightly pink so that I can see what I'm doing better when I'm carving, and then I carved it, and there isn't much explaining here. I just used a small block and made this little spider web thingy, and I think it's quite cool because it's universal, and I can also reuse the pattern later and, for example, stamp a spider on top of it to make a new one, or use it as a background for anything. So I'm really happy with how it turned out. I first aligned how I wanted the texture to be on the star, and I planned it out just with a marker, and I then stamped it on this sateen fabric, and then I stamped it some more since I already had the stamping equipment out. And once I cut out the star, I hand painted it a bit so that the pattern reaches all the edges, and also I think it gives it an interesting texture because the texture of like the brush strokes is different than that from stamping the pattern. And now finally the time came to assemble the flap of the bag as well, so I as you can see in the video, I left myself some seam allowance on the star so that I can just fold all the ugly edges down inside so that they're hidden. And I decided to sew with a white thread, so to like add to this spidery thread look. And I also added this sateen sort of triangle as like an additional texture above the star, so I think like geometrically the shapes work better together than they did without it. Right, so before we finish off with the machine sewing and we can get to the details, the last stitch will be the strap. I need to elongate these, so what I did is I just cut out more of that, and I will sew it like so, folded down. And this edge will not be visible because it will also be folded down. And the nice thing is there will not be a place where we have this situation going on twice because the length of these is not equal, so this will actually happen lower, so like so, and this will just be if you straighten it at a different point. But yeah, in the end the length should be similar here and similar here. And it was at this moment I knew I fucked up a little bit. I realized after sewing that I made the leg strap in such a way that it goes on the right leg, or else it will be on the inside of the thighs, which is not what I want. And I made the waist strap in such a way that it goes on the left side, so but fortunately I made it long enough that I can sort of wrap it around me, because otherwise, like if I wanted to still wear it on the right side, it would be there would be a bow at the front, and who wants a bow at the front with an asymmetrical look, you know? So yeah, luckily I can still tie it in the back. It's just not as nice of a bow because there isn't as much to tie, but it still works. And also I'm right-handed, so I want it on the right, obviously. One last detail for a bit of extra whimsy, I made these spiders out of jewelry wire and glass beads, and I sewed one of them on the bag, the biggest one, and used some other ones as keychains, because I like making keychains. And yes, that's how it looks. Okay, and it is finished. So let's put it on. Maybe without tying my hair to it would be best. Yeah, if I want it tied like that with a dress, I definitely need pants. Because it's, grabbing it. But I think that's cute too. Or an alternative option is to just tie a bow here to get rid of the stringies. Like so. And yeah, it's fully functional. I can't show you my phone in it because I'm using my phone to record, but it can fit quite a lot. It can fit a whole book, so that's enough, I think. Or it can fit this little thing I did using the same print. So little pouch. I like using little pouches for like my chapstick, my hand sanitizer, my hand cream, my maybe small tissues. I have this little bottle of perfume, so it's just a useful way to keep those things together. And I actually made 2 more, and these will be available on my Vinted store. They also have little spiders. They're also just generally the same design, so I think that's cute. If you're interested, go to my Vinted shop. But yeah, this is just like a fully functional little bag, and it can be worn with a dress too, just probably without tying that part. It can be worn with pants. I've seen somebody make a similar one, but instead of this top thing, they made it using 2 carabiners, like here, in this place, so it can be secured to belt loops. The issue is I don't really wear jeans, so it's not necessary for me, and also not that practical for me, but that's also a great way to do it. When it comes to the bag itself, it's not exactly as I planned, but I'm satisfied with the result, even though it doesn't tie the way I wanted it to. In hindsight, I actually think maybe the bow would be a bit too bulky, because I wanted this somewhat big bow, right behind the bag. But if I change my mind, I can just elongate the straps even further and get the big bow. It's not an issue. And I think the double wrapping or the hiding it underneath also works. And if I want to wear it with a dress, I can also tie the bottom straps into a little bow underneath and just not tie that to the leg, because obviously the dress would kind of get in the way. But yes, I am satisfied with the result, and I think that's all from me for now. I hope this video was in any way useful or entertaining or informative to you, or inspiring maybe. If you have any thoughts or advice or maybe ideas for the future or anything on your mind, how's your day? you can leave that in the comment section down below. And for now, just stay safe, stay creative, and peace.